Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Third year class MBBS. Hope all your students will be fine. Welcome back after summer vacations for your online classes. Today is my first lecture with you people after summer vacation. Today's lecture is antitussives, expectorants, and mucolytics. First of all, I will tell you what is cough. Cough, it is a forceful expulsion of air from the lungs. Cough, it is a protective reflex for removing any foreign body, environmental irritants, or any accumulated secretions from the respiratory tract. Cough is the sudden, often involuntary reflex and major defensive mechanism. Sometimes cough also occur due to underlying respiratory or any cardiovascular pathology. Most of the time, coughing is beneficial. How it is beneficial? Because it removes excessive secretions, it removes potentially harmful foreign substances from the respiratory tract. There are, however, many situations in which the patient does not, in which the cough does not serve any useful purpose, but it may instead only annoy the patient or prevent the patient to take proper rest and sleep. In some situations, coughing can be harmful, like in cases after surgery, especially after hernia repair surgery. So, in such cases, cough should be prevented. Cough suppressants should be. Chronic cough can contribute to fatigue, especially in case of elderly patients. In such situations, use of a drug uh, should be done that will reduce the frequency or intensity of the coughing. It has been suggested that irritation of the bronchial mucosa causes bronchoconstriction, which in turn stimulates cough receptors. Cough receptors are the specialized type of stretch receptors and they are located in the tracheobronchial passages. Now, what is cough reflex? Cough reflex, it involves central and peripheral mechanisms. Centrally, the cough center in the medulla oblongata, it receives stimuli and initiates the reflex response. That is deep inspiration, close glottis, buildup of pressure within the lungs, and then the forceful exhalation. Periphery cough receptors are located in the pharynx, in the larynx, in the trachea, and in the lungs. And they may be stimulated by air, dryness of mucous membranes, or excessive secretions. Now, mechanism of cough. There is stimulation of mechano or chemoreceptors in the throat, respiratory passages, or stretch receptors in the lungs. Then the afferent impulses, they pass to cough centers, which is present in the medulla oblongata. And then the efferent impulses, they pass through the parasympathetic and motor nerves to diaphragm, intercostal muscles, and lung. There will be increased contraction of the diaphragm, abdominal, and intercostal muscles, and they will be cough. There is noisy expiration. It's called cough. Now the types of cough. Acute cough lasting less than 3 weeks, and the chronic cough which may be lasting more than 8 weeks. And cough may be unproductive, dry, and it may be productive with sputum. It shows the respiratory tract. Upper respiratory tract include nasal cavity, nares, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and the lower respiratory tract include bronchus and the bronchioles. Upper respiratory tract, I have already told that, and lower respiratory tract, trachea, bronchi, bronchus. Now, the most common causes of cough include common cold, any upper and lower respiratory tract infections, allergic rhinitis. Allergic rhinitis in the condition in which most often sneezing, along with sneezing, coughing is also occur. You will cover this topic of allergic rhinitis inshallah in ENT. Then chronic bronchitis in which coughing occurs for more than I think 2 months. Pulmonary tuberculosis, in which coughing patient presents with cough and fever. Then the pharyngitis, in which the infection, uh, most common infection of pharynx, patient presents with fever and pharyngitis also. And then the asthma, in asthma patient also cough. And the gastroesophageal reflux disease, in which cough occurs mostly due to reflux. And in case of pneumonia, cough patient also cough. In case of chronic heart failure or congestive heart failure, uh, is coughing also present. It's a major sign. And in the bronchiectasis, and coughing also occur in other diseases like paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. And in the case patient is uses some drugs like AC inhibitors, he cough. In case of lung cancer. Complications of cough. Now, what is complications of cough? There will be acute complications and there will be certain chronic complications. In acute complications, cough syncope and the insomnia, because patient may be not able to take the sleep properly, and due to cough may lead to vomiting, and patient and due to excessive coughing, subconjunctival hemorrhage may occur. And due to coughing, defecation, sometimes defecation and urination can also occur. Chronic complications lead to abdominal and perineal hernia, fatigue, fracture of the lower lips, and costochondritis. Now the treatment of cough. Treatment of cough depends upon whether there is sputum or no sputum. When the patient has no sputum, that is dry cough, antitussives should be taken, and when the patient has sputum, that is patient has productive cough, then expectorants should be taken. Now, what are the antitussives? Antitussives, these are the drugs used for the symptomatic treatment of the cough. They are also called the cough suppressants. They are used only for non-productive cough. Due to antitussives, there may be rapid relief of cough, but not there is no specific therapy of underlying pathological condition. Sorry students, मुझे भी थोड़ी सी कफ हुई हुई है. Classification of antitussives, central antitussives and peripheral antitussives. Central antitussives includes narcotic antitussives, which include codeine, pholcodine, morphine, and non-narcotic antitussives, which include noscapine, dextromethorphan, benzonatate, and diphenhydramine. And the peripheral antitussives include demulcents, which include leucoris, and steam inhalation like tincture benzoin, and drugs having local anesthetic activity like benzonatate and narcotine. Now we will come to the mechanism of action of antitussives. Central antitussives, it will suppress the cough reflex by direct action on the medullary cough sentence. And then the peripheral antitussives, it decreases input of stimuli from the cough receptors in the respiratory passages. Inhibit the receptors afferent nerve of cough reflex arc, and then it will lead to cough suppression. Now, the adverse effects of antitussives, it may cause sputum retention and thus may be harmful in patients with chronic bronchitis and bronchiectasis. For example, if the patient is having productive cough with sputum and he is taking antitussives, it may be harmful for the patients because it may lead to sputum retention. So, antitussives should be taken for dry cough, which is without sputum. Cough suppressants containing opioids can cause constipation and narcotic dependence. If the cough suppressants have opioids, it may cause dependence, which is the harmful effect. Next, codeine. Codeine, it is the opium alkaloid found in opium poppy. It is converted into morphine in the liver. Codeine, it is the centrally acting suppressant. Codeine has antidepressive effect in smaller doses, and it is ineffective for analgesia in smaller doses. It is ineffective for analgesia. It does have only antidepressive effect. Codeine suppresses the bronchial gland secretions and movement of cilia. When bronchial gland secretion is decreased, definitely coughing will be decreased. तो adverse effects of codeine ये आप लोग ऑलरेडी कर चुके हैं, इस पे वाइवा भी हो चुका है. Constipation, CNS depression, respiratory depression in larger doses. Codeine may have addictive potential. Codeine, it may lead to tolerance, and then physical dependence can also occur with frequent repeated administration. It can be used as a recreational drug. Now the contraindications of codeine including liver disease, asthma. Preparations of codeine include in the form of linctus and tablets. Folcodeine. Folcodeine has the mild sedative effect, little analgesic action. It does not cause constipation, and it has less liable to cause addiction. It has longer acting. Side effects include nausea and vomiting. Noscapine. Noscapine is the natural opium alkaloid. It has the weak bronchodilator properties and it stimulates respiration. It has no analgesic and sedating properties. Side effects of noscapine include headache and nausea. Dextromethorphan, it is a safe non-addicting drug. It does not cause constipation and CNS or respiratory traction. So it is the safe drug. Next is benzonatate. It's the derivative of procaine. Acts both centrally and peripherally. Onset of action is about 20 minutes and duration of action is about 3 to 8 hours. It impairs sensation of stretch receptors in the respiratory tract. So its mechanism is that it impairs the sensation of stretch receptors in the respiratory tract. Now, the adverse effects of benzonatate may include drowsiness, headache, dizziness, certain GIT disturbances, nasal congestion, hypersensitivity and skin rashes, and numbness of the mouth, tongue, and pharynx. Now, what are the expectorants? Expectorants, जैसा कि पहले भी आपको बताया था, expectorants should be taken in case of productive cough, which will help to remove the sputum. It helps to remove the sputum, or it helps to remove a removal of mucus. It reduces the viscosity of secretions, decrease the viscosity of secretion, and it promotes expulsion of bronchial secretion. And expectorants also may act reflexively or directly on bronchial secretory cells. Now the expectorants, some drugs which acting reflexively and some drugs which are directly acting. Directly acting drugs which act as expectorants include potassium iodide and sodium iodide, and the drugs acting reflexively include ammonium chloride, guaifenesin, and ipecacuanha. Now, how potassium and sodium iodide act? Following the absorption of sodium and potassium iodide, they stimulate bronchial secretory cells and they liquefy the tenacious sputum. And so when they get absorbed, they stimulate the bronchial secretory cells and liquefy the tenacious sputum. And when the sputum is liquefied, it helps its removal. And uses or include it is beneficial in chronic bronchitis and tuberculosis. Contraindication, it is contraindicated in case of acute bronchitis. Side effects include metallic taste, gastric irritation, sneezing, rhinitis, conjunctivitis. Or sometimes acneiform skin eruptions occur, which is the side effect most probably observed in dermatology. So sometimes acneiform skin eruptions may occur, and and in this case, with the usage of drug, increased salivation may also occur. Swollen parotid glands can also occur with the use of this drug. नो दिस इज़ द असाइनमेंट। इसके लेक्चर के दरमियान भी मैंने आपको असाइनमेंट दे दी है। राइट ऑन द क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ एंटीटसिव्स एंड डिस्क्राइब द मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एक्शन एंड रिवर्स इफेक्ट्स ऑफ कोडिन। व्हेन योर लेक्चर विल बी फिनिश इंशाल्लाह, देन इसके आपको असाइनमेंट के लिए मैं दूंगी, बट यू हैव ओनली 20 मिनट्स फॉर द असाइनमेंट। 20 मिनट्स के अंदर आपने सबमिट करवानी है, और इसके 20 मिनट्स के बाद उसके बाद किसी की अटेंडेंस नहीं मार्क होगी, तो प्लीज़ बी ऑन टाइम और कोशिश करें कि पूरा लेक्चर इसका देखें। Now the reflexively acting drugs, it include stimulate gastric mucosa, which reflexively increase the secretion of bronchial gland of the sputum. Now next drug is ipecacuanha. It is used as an expectorant in small doses, and it is used as emetic in large doses. It acts reflexively through irritation to the gastric mucosa. तो जो ड्रग्स रिफ्लेक्सली एक्ट करती हैं वो गैस्ट्रिक म्यूकोजा को इरिटेट करेंगी, जिसकी वजह से कफ पेशेंट करेगा। नेक्स्ट ड्रग इज guaifenesin. Side effects include GIT discomfort and drowsiness. They are available as linctus, syrup, tablets, and capsules. Now the mucolytics. What will be the mucolytics do? Mucolytics make the sputum less viscous, so is easily cleared from the chest. It depolymerizes the mucopolysaccharide protein fibers, and uh, its uses is in case of chronic asthma and chronic bronchitis. So mucolytics also make the sputum less viscous, so it is easy cleared from the checks. So mucolytics भी कहाँ हम use करेंगे expectorants की तरह? It is mostly used in productive cough. Classification: acetylcysteine, bromhexine, and Broxol. Now, what is bromhexine? Is a synthetic derivative of vesicine and is an alkaloid derivative from Ethadota vesica. Mechanism of action: it causes fragmentation of mucopolysaccharide fibers in the sputum, which reduces its viscosity. Side effects include gastric irritation, rhinorrhea, and lacrimation. Acetylcysteine, it opens the disulfide bonds in the mucoproteins which is present in sputum, thus decrease the viscosity of the sputum. It is given by inhalation or by direct instillation into the trachea. It is also given orally in the treatment of acetaminophen overdosage. Acetaminophen overdosage में तो आपने अभी किया, इस पे वाइवा भी हो चुका है, सो इसको acetaminophen overdosage में भी देते हैं, ठीक है। और दूसरा इसको किस तरह देंगे, क्या किस पर्पस के लिए सर्व करता है? It opens disulfide bonds in the mucoproteins present in sputum. Thus, it decreases the viscosity of sputum, which helps in expulsion of sputum. Side effects includes bronchospasm, nausea, GIT irritation, headache, and urticaria.